Uno, dos, tres. What up, LA? Welcome to episode 13 of the Bulletin Board Material Podcast. I am your host, Ray El Barbon, and today's episode, Doc McStuffstats. Joining me today, again, is Mr. Audel Del Toro, but he's joining me in a different capacity this week. He's joining me officially as the co-host of the Bulletin Board Material as of today. So give it up for him. How you doing, Audel?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, man?
Oh, man, I'm here, dude, chilling. You know, it's a beautiful, gloomy day in LA. What can I say?
It is. Beautiful.
Right? Just so everybody remembers, don't forget to follow us on BulletinBoardMaterial.com, the BulletinBoardMaterial.com. You can find all our platforms on there. You can find out what we're doing. We're going to be putting some merch up there. You can follow Mr. Audel on Twitter under Audeezy with 2 E's underscore. So Audeezy underscore. And you can find me through the BulletinBoardMaterial.com, or you can catch us on Lakers Raw Twitter for Audel, Lakers Raw Instagram for myself. You know, hopefully everybody can take the time and subscribe to our platforms. That's kind of how we're getting paid right now at this point. And we're getting paid very little. Like almost, I think it's a very round number. I think it's like about 0. So if you guys can help us out and we can get those subscriptions up, that would help out tremendously. That's just an unfortunate part we have to kind of get into in the self-promoting aspect of this podcast. But, you know, speaking of things that aren't too pleasing, let's get into this loss from the other night with the Lakers and Pelicans. That game was atrocious, and specifically I wanted to get into the James Worthy comments after the game, where he kind of touched on a few different aspects. He touched on the fact that there was some kind of virus going around right now with the Lakers, and I honestly would have to say that it's an ego. It's an ego thing right now. At this point, the Lakers are they're all for themselves. You know, you can say whatever you want about Luke, you can say whatever you want about his rotations, but honestly, this locker room is fractured. It's completely fractured at this point. There's no coming back from at this point. Or you know what? I shouldn't say there's no coming back. There is very little possibility for this locker room to kind of gel together. And you know what that only possibility is going to be?
What is that?
It's going to be Lonzo Ball. Who would have thought, right? Lonzo Ball. And before you start laughing and whatnot, Alan Silva of ESPN brought up some good points. He brought up the fact that before the Lakers lost Lonzo to injury, they were actually 13th in defensive rating in the league, and now they're in 26th. So they actually gotten twice as bad on defense. And I don't think that's surprising because you can see how bad it is now. I mean, from LeBron all the way down, they're either giving very little effort or none at all. That's a terrible look for the Lakers. They've been 4-10 since Lonzo's been out. They've been giving up at about 122 points a game at this point compared to the 113 when Lonzo was here. But I just think right now with the Lakers, the main problem is egos. I think all around, everybody's got their own thing. You got LeBron congratulating himself after a terrible loss. You got Lonzo and Lance Stevenson out there swerving. You got, who else you got out there?
And that's a dope song, though. That swerving song goes.
That's beside the point. It can be dope in the summer, you know?
Yeah.
But then you got JaVale sitting here flexing and, you know, trying to be Mr. Universe at this point. Rondo just looks like he's completely checked out, in my opinion. Rondo, I can't pinpoint exactly what's going on with Rondo. And James Worthy actually brought a good point. He actually called Rondo detrimental to the team. And he actually said that Rondo was just going through the motions. As far as my opinion goes with Rondo, I think this whole trade deadline, I think the LeBron antics after the games have kind of just worn on him. And I think he's going back into that Dallas Mavericks Rondo where he's the virus. He might be the virus. He definitely might be the virus. You know, if you remember back to when he was with the Bulls, he had a big problem when Dwayne Wade and with Jimmy Butler was sitting there calling out the young guys through the media. Sound like anybody you know?
No, I agree 100%. Rondo, this is intensity on the court. There's a video that Laker Film Room put out the other day, and it was showing Rondo, the way he was playing defense was just, he was standing around, he was putting his hands out, he wasn't kind of, you know, moving his feet. He was just kind of being lazy, just being detrimental to the team. Yeah. So I'm not sure if Rondo is fully checked out or if something's bothering him. He looks healthy to me, so it's definitely nothing to do with his health.
No, definitely not. Because, I mean, even if you look at some of these stupid cross-court passes, I mean, that's stuff that I'm sitting here doing like on the in a pickup game. Yeah. Just sitting there flipping the ball cross-court, trying to put a little backspin on it to get it to the guy. I mean, I can't recall him doing that prior to all this madness that's been going on.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's bowling the ball over there to the other side of the court. It's like, come on, man. What are you doing? A little pickup game basketball? Like, play right, man. You know, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I just, at this point, I know a lot of people are sitting there calling for, like, Luke's head and, you know, saying what they're saying about LeBron. And I know LeBron LeBron has been very vocal in certain aspects, but LeBron to me has been the main reason. There are very few times that I'm going to agree with Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith actually came out and said that at this point, we cannot call LeBron James the greatest player in the world. And I cannot argue with that. I mean, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, and I've been very, very vocal as far as when I have issues with him. But right now, he's not the best player in the world. And I know I caught a little bit of flack from some followers a few weeks ago when I said he was on the decline. He was on the decline of his career at this point. And I got a lot of flack for that. But at this point, I don't know how you can't say that that's the truth. I mean, whatever it is, age, whatever it is, the miles on his body, the injury, whatever the case is, the effort he's giving on the defensive end specifically right now is crazy, ridiculously bad. Like, just bad. Like, how you come out and don't even defend the three, you don't rotate on your players, and then you have the nerve to sit here and point at guys like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then after the games, you're coming out here and saying, hey, our effort, and questioning people's, where their heads at. How do you do that? I mean, that is like the epitome of hypocrisy. Like,
you got to be careful with them LeBron stands too, because they're like the beehive, man. Like they come out and they go after you if you're talking about LeBron. Like, and it sometimes it's Kobe stands versus LeBron stands. It's Lakers stands. It's like the Laker organization, the Laker brand is bigger than the player. And I think this is like the first time ever that a team is bigger than the player as far as for LeBron James, because when he went to Miami, LeBron was the bigger player than an actual franchise. Mm-hmm. Cleveland, his name was bigger than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then with the Lakers, it's like the Lakers are the bigger brand over LeBron James. So there's no you can't kind of blame the organization. You're blaming the player. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, I get that, but I have to blame the organization, because to me, one of the things that I thought, okay, LeBron James is coming, and one of the few things that I was kind of hanging my hat on, and I was like, no, Magic's not going to let LeBron come in here and just run the team. He's not going to let him just sit here and say, oh, I want Mo Williams. I need an all-star. Go get me Mo Williams. I need an enforcer. Go get me Shaq. I'll come back, but I need a veteran player. Ship out Wiggins. I didn't think that was going to be the case here in LA, just because, like you were saying, the LAs are bigger than LeBron James. This is one of the few times you could say that the franchise is bigger than LeBron James, just because of the history, the success, and everything that kind of goes with the Laker brand, right? But I got to put more blame on the franchise for that, because I've been very surprised at how they've been bending over backwards for most of the things that LeBron has been pushing for. If you kind of reflect back when he was saying, you'll know when I'm upset and all that stuff. I don't know. Is this LeBron upset? Because it looks like it. It definitely looks like he's upset.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to blame the organization over LeBron, I get that part of it, but LeBron had to say too. Like when they were picking up Rondo, Lance Stevenson, and all that during the offseason, they said LeBron was okay with those moves. So if you're the GM, like they call him, and you're making these moves, and you're okay with bringing in these tough guys instead of bringing in shooters, all your career you've been around shooters. While all of a sudden you want to get tough guys, and these guys were mediocre role players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think they were just kind of trying to zig when everybody was zagging. But that kind of tells you who's in charge. I mean, say what you want about the franchise, but who does that tell you is in charge when Magic and the Lakers are like, this is what we're going to do? Let's check with LeBron, though.
LeBron's in charge.
No, of course, and that's what I'm saying. And I get it. Kobe, it was probably the same thing with Kobe, and maybe Kobe was just a little better as far as on the PR angle. But I can't sit here and say that LeBron is not pulling the strings. Some people would keep saying, "Oh, that's like I had somebody tell me, oh, that's a lazy narrative." It might be a lazy narrative, but when you have the common denominator in LA being LeBron, in Cleveland being LeBron, and Miami being LeBron, and Cleveland before that again being LeBron, and it's always been the same thing. I mean, the guy, I think in his first stint with Cleveland, had his own personal locker room, I think for his friends and family. Yeah. That's how spoiled this cat is. And I get it. I mean, he's been told that his don't stink since he was walking pretty much. So I get why he is the way he is, and I'm not even saying don't. But at that point, it's like, if you're the player and you want empowerment, I get it. But it comes to a point where the team has to say, okay, I get it, but you got to step back. We got this. We'll take care of this. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be Magic's job on the line. It's going to be Pelinka's job on the line. And maybe Magic doesn't need it as much, but Pelinka, I mean, he gave up his entire clientele in order to take this job. So where does he go from this if he gets canned? Yeah. He's got to pick up all his clients again, right? Or pick up clients or whatever the case is. I don't know. I think the fact that people say that LeBron doesn't have as much influence as he does are, I don't want to say ignorant, but they are they're naive. Naive is the perfect word to say, you know. And I don't know if you've had a chance to look into it, but naive actually isn't even in the dictionary. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And that's how naive people can be.
Wow.
It is in the dictionary. It is in the dictionary. But there's a naivety of people sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But
well, you know, at the end of the day, right now as we stand, we're looking at LeBron James, and he is not 100%. Let's just keep it real. As much as he said, oh, you know what, I'm going towards third base and I'm sliding into home, I'm almost 100% healthy. Like, he does not look 100%, like, at all. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't think it's the injury, bro. I honestly don't think it's the injury. I mean, he is out of shape. I know they say he spends like $1 million on his off-season conditioning or whatever the case is, or year-round conditioning, but dude looks like he's 280, like a solid 280 right now. And that's fine if you're balling, but I mean, don't deny it. And don't deny that what was his quote the other day? He said, we come to work and we come to work at a high level. I don't know what that high level is. And as far as the activation comments go, where he said he was going to be activated, I don't know. Is there like a short fuse or something?
I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either. I mean, yeah, he's been playing great, but not LeBron great. He's been playing Anthony Davis great. He's been playing Kevin Durant great, but not LeBron James great.
So you're saying he's been playing great based off his numbers, because he's averaging almost a triple double. He ends up with 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists every game. Whatever, that's cool. Like, but if you look at those numbers, I was talking to someone on Twitter the other day that those numbers, his points are off of fast break points, or a step back 3-pointer that he's taking.
Yeah,
he's not getting those good mid range in the post or solid points. He's getting all like the chump points. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I just feel like those numbers they lie to what you actually see on the court.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I think at this point, like people were saying, what is the real reason LeBron came to LA? I think a large part of it that I personally overlook is the fact that he's here, yes, to win, possibly. Not possibly, but that's a high chance that he'll win. But I think more so than that, I think he is really worried about his legacy. And I know when he came into the league, he was saying that one of his goals was to become a billionaire. And I think he is going to definitely do that. But that kind of tells you where LeBron's head is at. You know, the Space Jam 2, all the side projects, that's great. I don't have a problem with that. He's got a team that handles most of that. But when it's not showing up on the court, that kind of leads you to believe that he's distracted, right? So when he's sitting here talking about people being distracted and all that, I mean, who's he really talking about? Is he talking about himself? Because I would put him at the top of all that. Because I think he's been distracted from the get-go. And I know he controls his narrative and all that, but the loss against the Grizzlies the other night was the perfect example. Dude, he's out there not rotating on guys, not picking up his man, not defending the three. And I mean, just lazily, like the definition of lazily. And then looking at Kuzma, looking at B.I., looking at whoever he's got to, and saying, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then as soon as the game comes out, what happens? He goes into top 10.
The blame game.
Yeah, but not even more so than that. One of the records he stepped into was the fact that he's the only player in the league that's top 10 in assists and top 10 in points, right?
Yep. What
happens as soon as the game goes up? And you pointed this out. An Instagram post pops up immediately congratulating himself on being top 10 on points and top 10 in assists.
Even when the dark's out.
Right? Bullshit. LeBron knows exactly what to do. LeBron knows if I win, this is the angle we're playing. If we lose, this is the angle we're shooting. And it might not be him tweeting it out, putting it on Instagram, but it's definitely him co-signing it and saying, that's what we're running with. That's what we're running with. Him and Rich Paul, him and whoever he's got. But he is ultimately the guy that's checking off the boxes and saying, let's go. Just like ownership does. Trades don't go down without ownership saying, okay, we're good to move.
Yeah, no, he's 100% distracted to me. He is the distraction. I mean, if these kids were just playing, if LeBron wasn't here, I guarantee these kids would be playing at a higher level. I mean, I understand that LeBron James is the big guy, the biggest guy in the NBA or whatever, that he's going to come in and you're going to learn off of him, just like you would have learned off of Kobe or whatnot. But these kids would be putting in more effort because they get a chance to play and they don't have nobody talking smack in the background or putting that finger on them, you know?
Yeah, and it sucks for Luke because Luke has not been perfect by a long shot. Yeah, he's done some crazy stuff this year with his rotations and whatnot. But I mean, if you think about it, with everything that's been going on all season long, it's like he's been the one that's been pretty much handed the mess, and they're like, do something with this all season long. And he literally built or was attempting to build a culture for the past 2 seasons with the Lakers. And I thought he was doing a great job. I mean, we were getting better. I think last year we had 35 wins. We were going to build on that. He had the team buying into defense and whatnot. And then LeBron comes in. And yeah, he might not come out and say it, but LeBron literally just came in here and just smacked everything to the side, came in here like a little kid and just smacked the blocks off of Luke's play mat and said, hey, this is my playground. This is my play mat, right? And he just destroyed everything that he built. And I know he didn't per se do it himself, but through the clutch leaks with the AD rumors and all that stuff, that's honestly been the biggest part of this whole season. That was the most detrimental thing. And I know the Celtics were also leaking their information as well, but there was no reason for the Lakers really to leak some of this info. Yeah. Not at all. I firmly believe that Clutch was a part of this, and it might have been Clutch, but remember, who owns Clutch? LeBron owns Clutch.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Indirectly or not.
And see, Rich Paul and LeBron, they know what they were doing that whole time. They were trying to get Anthony Davis to LA because obviously LeBron wants to play with Anthony Davis. And nothing wrong with that, but the way they were leaking all this, it definitely was a distraction to all the kids, no doubt. Like, these kids were looking at this, reading this every day on Twitter, like, damn, am I going to be traded next? Like, it was definitely a distraction that was brought to the whole team. Yeah,
and honestly, you got to kind of simplify. I know as fans, we kind of like, we're disconnected from these guys' reality. Yeah, these guys, they have a completely different reality as far as like my reality. I can't speak on your reality, but like my reality is I get up, I got to take my kids to school, I got to go to work, I got to put some cheese on the table in order to survive, right? These cats, completely different aspect. They're living life, they're doing what they love, and they don't have to worry about the money aspect, yes, and all that, but they have different things they have to worry about. But I just think that their reality is completely different from ours as far as what they have to worry about. And in this case, I think LeBron's mentality, his mental state is in the wrong spot. And I just think the fact that a lot of people just won't tell him no, I think that's the biggest problem. I think the fact that Pat Riley actually stood up to him at one point, and that's what LeBron didn't like, speaks volumes to what LeBron is. And I get it. It's his life. It's his legacy. It's his career. He's got complete right to do all of that stuff. But it works the same way for the Lakers. It's their roster. It's their team. It's their history. It's their legacy. Ultimately, it's their franchise. And it's up to them to say, okay, we're going to let you go to here, but we're not letting you go to here, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's far enough, pretty much.
Going back to, a lot of people don't tell him no. I know as far as even the media, a lot of the media is like, they're like kind of scared to ask LeBron these questions or to kind of call him out on certain things. So LeBron thinks like, well, I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do, because LeBron's the type of guy that if you ask him a question as a media member and he kind of looks at you and says, like, I've seen him say where he's like you're not with me, like Dave McMenamin, like he knows me, or Windhorst, he's been with me, whatever. And when the media asks him something and it's kind of like he's bothered by it, he's the type of person to say, okay, this person can't ask me a question no more. Don't let this guy in my press conference. Like, so I feel like the media is at fault for also not being able to call him out on certain things. Like, if you're a media member, me personally, if I was in the media, I would not be scared to ask LeBron James a question. Like, hey, LeBron, like, who are you calling out? Are you calling out a specific player on this? What are you trying to say here? Like, be more specific. Don't beat around the bush. You're very strategic in what you say nowadays. Like, LeBron has always been that strategic person. He knows what he's saying.
Yeah, but then keep in mind, the media is also very strategic. So sometimes when they ask these questions, they're open-ended just because it's easier to spin it if he's not saying, oh, I'm not talking about anybody indirectly. Oh, I'm talking about JaVale, because then at that point it just becomes about JaVale. It's a lot easier to say, oh, is it the young core? Is it JaVale? Is it Rondo? Is it Coach? Is it Magic? Who is it? Who is it really, right? I just think, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, and it kind of goes back to the KD comments where he was saying that the environment around him is toxic. And, you know, looking back on it, I think KD nailed it right on the head. And he also touched on the fact that there's a lot of fanboys in the media. And that's very, very true. I mean, I know, like on Lakers Raw, we got a big Lakers proponent, not Lakers proponent, but a LeBron proponent with Hoodie LeBron, where he's always in there. He's always in there mixing it up, defending LeBron. And I get it. LeBron's your guy. LeBron is your guy. I get it. But at the same time, you have to realize, like, I also have a bias because I am a LeBron guy, right?
Yeah.
I understand that I'm not per se a LeBron guy, but I am a Laker guy, and I will defend LeBron when needed. But I'm also not afraid to say, you know what, that's wrong. That's the wrong play. That's the wrong way to go about it. I just think as far as leadership goes, he's not going about it the right way. And in the past, it might have worked, but right now, it seems like his play isn't up to the level where he can be saying these comments at this point. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is injured, and I really hope so, because this is year 1 of 4. So if he's only going to be going down from here, I'm really kind of scared for this for this team. And the only thing that really makes me feel better is the fact that at this point we still have the young core, because I think the fact that we have the young core right now, that's going to be the difference whether we're going to be successful in 4 years when LeBron bounces. And I'm not saying he is going to, but I'm just thinking worst case scenario, if he does bounce, think about how he's left the Heat. Think about how he's left the Cavs twice. He builds this team and then he leaves and they got nothing. They got nothing around it. They got nothing. They just basement.
That may very be the case there, because he's got 4 years, right, that he signed for.
Yeah.
And he said he wants to play with Bronny when he gets drafted. So after this 4th year, wherever little Bron gets drafted to, that's where LeBron might play his final year or two and retire with the son. Because that's, I mean, being able to play with your son, who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Yeah, of course.
So he definitely it might leave us without anybody, because look, the young core is here now, but I guarantee you Magic's gonna say, look, we gotta win now. LeBron has 2 or 3 years left in his prime. Like, we have to win now before he's gone.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if this young core is all gone in the offseason and we traded for players or whatnot and we have a whole new team this summer.
But think about it. Right now, Kyrie is not too happy in Boston. Boston lost another game. I think it was 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And he is pissed right now.
Yeah.
So if Kyrie's bouncing, that means AD's buddy might not be in Boston.
Yeah.
And that means if he's not going to be in Boston and AD might not, and they might not have a good chance at AD staying there, then they might not give up Jason Tatum, which kind of favors us, because now maybe we don't have to give up the entire squad just to get Anthony Davis. Now maybe we got to give up maybe Kuz and maybe Lonzo or Kuz and like a Josh Hart or something like that. But I think all of this is kind of playing into our hands at this point. But right now the biggest concern is making these playoffs. We got 22 games left. Last week we talked a little bit about what we thought the Lakers had to hit as far as their last 25 games record to make the playoffs. I think I said 19-6 in my opinion. I think you said 17-8.
18-7.
I'm sorry, 18-7 in your opinion. Where do you see it? Because since we talked, I said if they beat the Rockets, that they were going to propel them into a 4-0 stint before they played against the Bucks, right? And in that first game, they took it, and I was like, here we go. Yeah. What did I say? What did I say? But then we revert back to the same thing that we were pre-All-Star game.
So right now, we're 1-2 in the last 3 games.
Yep.
And then we got the Pelicans tonight. So 2-2 is not ideal. I mean, you split 4 games, so it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But going forward, you gotta, like I said it before, you can't lose to these mediocre teams, man. You gotta take care of business. Like you losing to the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, and that's just bad. That's real bad. Like Greg said, this is bad basketball, man. This team is just bad.
Super bad.
So it's to the point where you're gonna keep losing to these teams. You just don't deserve to be there. And at this point, how many games are left?
22, I believe. 22?
Okay, so let's do a new one here. That's in these last 22 games. I think the Lakers have to go 17-5.
Okay. I'm still gonna stick with my predictions. I think the only thing that's helping us right now is the fact that the Clippers, the Kings, the Rockets, they've all been kind of up and down as well. But I think Lonzo coming back is gonna help us out tremendously, and I think that's gonna really boost Lonzo's value, because I've been saying from the get-go, Lonzo is so undervalued. Yeah, his offensive game is not where it needs to be, but his game is undervalued completely. He plays every other facet of the game at a high level. Passing, defense. He understands the nuances of the game. He gets everybody playing at a higher level. LeBron, I mean, I know the narrative with him is that he makes everybody around him better, but at this point, I don't see it. He's not making Lance Stevenson better. He's not making Rajon Rondo better. He's not making JaVale better. I think they're all playing for their own agendas at this point. I think Rondo's checked out. I think JaVale's playing for a contract next year. I think Lance doesn't care. I think Lance is just trying to go platinum, right? And at this point, I don't really know what to say. I think at this point it falls solely on, you know what? Why don't we just go into the blame game?
Let's do it.
I'm going to go, and I went into this a little bit on Twitter. So if you guys want to check out my Twitter, I did a little ranking where I kind of ranked the blame that needs to go around on the Lakers organization. And I essentially had, at the top of everything, you got to blame Magic. Magic's the head of all this. He signed on 2 years ago and said, hey, this is where we're going. This is what we're going to do. And boom, 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 right? Yep. Then he comes in. I got number 2. I got Rob Pelinka, because at this point they're a tag team. They're partners. So I can't sit here and say Magic's 1 and Pelinka's 3. I kind of have to give them the pecking order that they're in. And at this point it's Magic and Pelinka. Okay. And then number 3, you have to have LeBron James, and he's a close 3.
Because real quick. Let me stop you there. Okay. So you got LeBron at number 3, and you said Magic and Pelinka are a tag team. where does Jeannie Buss get any blame on this? Where does she come in?
Jeannie Buss doesn't get any blame yet. Yes.
No.
Jeannie Buss does not get any blame yet. I will save Jeannie Buss for after this summer.
Okay.
Because I'm going to leave Jeannie out as far as the blame game goes until next season, just because I think she's like her pops. I think she takes I don't want to say the high road, but I think she lets people do their job. I think she hired Magic and Rob to do a job. Okay. They had a plan, and I think she's kind of letting it play out. I think right now at this point, it's kind of foolish to sit here and say, oh, this has been a fail, when the whole plan has been for this summer. I mean, if we would have won a championship this year, great. If we would have made the playoffs this year, great. All that's great. But the end game was this upcoming summer. So if this upcoming summer, Magic doesn't come through, Pelinka doesn't come through on what they promised, at that point, then I'm putting all the blame on Jeannie if moves aren't made. If that means firing Magic, if that means moving on from Rob, whatever it is, I think at that point, Jeannie needs to step in and she needs to make adjustments, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
I just think everybody as Laker fans, we're so spoiled and we're so easily swayed by the media that we kind of just go off the deep end after every loss, after every win. We kind of go crazy. And I'm guilty of that as well. But in hindsight, looking back on it, the plan has been this summer the entire time. So there's really no reason to kind of go crazy at this point. We still have a shot at the playoffs. It's not like we're done. I mean, there's still plenty of time to make it. Yes, we're playing terrible and it looks bleak, as James Worthy said, but there's still a possibility and there's still an opportunity. So I think that's really why I don't have Jeannie in there. But even as far as Jeannie goes, at that point, after like LeBron at 3, I got the vets at number 4, and I had to separate the vets from the youngest because I had the vets at number 4 because they've been here. They know what their roles are. They know what they're being brought in to do. They've been in the league for a while. They're not trying to figure it out like the young cats. For them to do what they're doing right now is just, it's to me, it's more detrimental than the young guys because the young guys don't know any better, right? I know Magic said we can't treat them as kids or whatever, but as far as experience goes, they've never been here before. Like LeBron says, how are you going to do something if you've never gotten a taste, right? Yeah. They've never gotten a taste of the playoffs, and they're getting a taste now. And honestly, I've been very impressed with Ingram. I've been very impressed with Kuz. Their effort, the stats might not always be where you want them to be, but as far as effort goes and intensity, they're there. And they're there like almost, I wouldn't say every play, but 99% of the plays, their intensity is there, which is more than I can say for a JaVale McGee and a Rajon Rondo and a Lance Stevenson and even a Tyson Chandler who's kind of coasting. I mean, it's been bad all around. And then after 4, I got Luke. Luke, like I said, he's been bad, not terribly bad. I think it's just been overstated because that's where the narrative needs to be. I think for Magic, I think for Rob, I think for the Lakers, I think for LeBron, they're all the main people who benefit from Luke being at fault for all this. And from the get-go, we knew Luke was going to get boxed in, and we knew that the chances he was going to survive the season were going to be very slim. So if he gets fired, he's definitely going to pick up a job immediately, just based off I mean, I think everybody understands that LeBron is a different animal at that point, right? Yeah. And then number 6, I got the youngins in there, which I don't think I really need to go into.
I mean, I'll go back to number 1. I know you got Magic and you got Pelinka back to back, but as much as you want to blame Magic, I think I still blame LeBron number 1. And it sucks because when LeBron signed, I was all hyped up for him and I was kind of defending him. I mean, I never even had LeBron on one of my teams, I used to hate LeBron back in the day. But because he used to always go at it with Kobe, the differences and whatnot and the championships. But I used to actually defend LeBron when he first got here, like, oh, give him a chance. And I still put all the blame on him because, look, you were the most dominant guy in the last 5 years, 8 years in Cleveland and Miami. And here you come to LA and, like, you seem like the distraction, like we were talking. You're going to film Space Jam 2. You're going to record this 2 Chainz album or whatever. And you're the distraction. So his leadership has not been what I thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? But
it's up to Magic and Rob to draw that line. And they're not drawing that line with him. That's why I got them above him. That's the only reason I got him. Because if Magic says, hey, you know what? You need to shut whether LeBron likes it or not, Magic has enough star power. Magic has enough equity in the Lakers, in LA, to just tell LeBron, hey, dude, you need to take a step back. I mean, as far as leadership goes, who better than Magic Johnson to take the lead from, right? Yeah. Magic was like one of the all-time great leaders in the NBA. And maybe it's not translating as well into the ownership, not the ownership role, but the president role, but he's a perfect guy to take the lead from. And I think if LeBron's going to listen to anybody, it would be Magic. So I don't understand where Magic's not coming in and saying, hey, LeBron, bro, like, you have to take a step back. You have to. And I'm not saying get rid of LeBron, and I'm not saying trade him and all that stuff, but I'm saying LeBron needs to take note that he's screwing up. And he's screwing up big because he himself is the reason that they will not make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, 100%.
He's the sole reason. And I know we're doing a lot of crying and all this stuff right now, especially on this podcast and on Twitter and all this stuff. But that is a perfect lead into our soapbox talk for the day, right? That I'm gonna actually start calling Chalk Talk.
Chalk Talk. Let's get it.
So let's go into my Chalk Talk. We got a couple minutes left. So my Chalk Talk for the day is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook yesterday had an altercation with a fan. He had an altercation. I'm going to go ahead and read the quote post game from Russell Westbrook. So he had an altercation where he was hit by a fan on the sidelines after an out of bounds play. And he comes out and he says, "He hit me, so I told his dad." Stop. He hit me, so I told his dad. I have a 7-year-old. I have 3 kids, but particularly right now I have a 7-year-old. You know what I hear out of my 7-year-old's mouth most of the time? He hit me, so I told on him. How old is this cat? So for those that didn't really realize what was going on, there was an out of bounds play, and there was this kid. He had to be about 8 or 9 years old. He hit Russell Westbrook by kind of tapping him because he was within arm's length. Russell Westbrook turns around, and he didn't turn around aggressive or anything, but I think he turned around with a purpose. Because you know how Russell Westbrook is very touchy with the fans and whatnot. But he comes out, and he has a conversation with the kid and his dad, like right there sideline, to the point where it almost looked like Jokic was standing there, and Jokic actually stood in between him and the fans for 1 second until he realized, okay, Russ just wants to talk to him. So Russ leans in and talks to his pops. And then afterward, and I had no problem with it. I have no problem with him drawing a line, but I had a problem with the fact that after the game, he comes out and he has these comments to say. Because if I'm the dude's dad, I got a problem with Russell Westbrook. He comes out and he says, "He hit me, so I told his dad." Be careful, man. You can't have your son just hitting random people. I don't know him. He don't know me. You've got to control your kids. First of all, if I'm this kid's dad and I hear this post game, I'm like, F you, Russell Westbrook. First of all, he's a kid. I don't know how many kids Russ has. I believe he has 1, and his kid is probably like 2 or 3 at this point, if I'm correct in it. But if I am a parent, I don't want anybody sitting there calling my parenting out in public, let alone in front of a national media. And I know Russ gets on his high horse at times, and he's been right a lot of times with these fan interactions he's had. But to me, I just think this was completely out of line. You don't call out another parent. You don't call out another parent's parenting. You don't do that stuff. You definitely don't. And more than the kid tapping him, not hitting him.
Yep.
He's the adult, and he should understand. Whoa, dude, I am Russell Westbrook. This kid is trying to get my attention, not trying to hit me, right? And I might not know him, but he definitely knows me. He definitely knows Russell Westbrook. There's no way you can say he doesn't know me. He might not know him personally, but to the point where he wants to tap him, how many chances is this kid going to really get to tap him on the shoulder, on the side again, right? Yeah. I mean, say what you want, but to me, that was just ridiculous, man. And that's just kind of what I had to say about that whole thing.
Ooh, that was tough. That was good. As far as my Chalk Talk, I'm gonna go into baseball real quick.
Okay.
So I'm kind of at this point sick and tired of all this Bryce Harper talk, man. It's like every day it's something new. Every day it's a new team meeting with him, and it's all Scott Boras. That agent Scott Boras is just, the dude is. Don't get me wrong. He gets you the most money he can get you, and it's part of the game. I get it. He's an agent, but it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you're a week, 2 weeks into spring training, and you still don't have a squad. Like, where do you go from here? You're still negotiating with the Phillies, negotiating with the Giants. The Dodgers go back. Like, it's all a game at this point. You know that the Phillies are offering you a set amount of money, over $300 million. It's a 10-year deal. If you want the money, just go to Philly. If you want to come to LA because you want to be in Hollywood and they're offering a little bit less years, but still a good amount of chunk of money, then take that money.
Yeah.
You obviously don't want to play in Philadelphia. So you're begging the Giants and the Dodgers to kind of match that offer so you can just come to one of these, stay in the West Coast and live close to home. But it's like, it's to the point where it's like, when do you just make a decision as a and say, hey, to look to your wifey and say, hey, we're going here, we're going there. Like, it's time to make a decision, bro. Like, I'm tired of hearing a new report every day. Like, he's like a diva, man. It's like, pick a place already.
Oh man, yeah, and I can't even speak on that, bro, because I'm a Seattle Mariner fan, so there is absolutely nothing going on around the Mariners. Man, dude, man. I should have turned the AC on today because this episode just got me hot, bro. You know, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed our new co-host, Audel Del Toro, on the show, right? So, you know, as far as everybody listening, again, I want to preach the fact that, you know, we need to we need the follows. I appreciate if you're listening. I know Audel appreciates that we speak on behalf of both of us, but we both appreciate you guys listening to us. We're not experts, we're not professionals, but hopefully we try to give you some entertaining content for you to listen on the way home, listen to whatever you're doing at the gym or whatever the case is. We just want to be the raw voice of the fan, right? We're not professionals. We're just here and we're trying to vent and we're trying to get our thoughts off of our chest. But we appreciate you guys listening to us. Again, you can follow Audel on Twitter at Audeezy_. That's Audeezy AUDEEZY_. And you can follow me at the BulletinBoardMaterial.com. I'm not going to go into my platforms just because there's different names on each one, but just go on the website. You can click on them and it'll take you to each one of the platforms. We're going to have some merch and stuff up as well. But I appreciate everybody listening to. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Hold on, we gotta go back real quick. We were about to sign off, but then I realized we need to go ahead and give a shout out to one of the Bulletin Board Material's biggest fans.
Yes, sir.
That's all you right there, Audel.
Shout out to the wifey, Marina Del Toro. It was her birthday. We celebrated it yesterday, and we went in, so we gotta celebrate it again all week, all month. Shout out to wifey.
Yeah, man, to the new quinceañera. Happy birthday to you. And now, for real, we're out.